The Bible isn't just a book of random stories. It's 66 different books that come together to tell one story. An incredible one about God's love for us. And now for an amazing story inspired by the book of Matthew, chapter 16. Verses 13 to 20.
Jesus and his closest friends followed the hard-packed road to the city of Caesarea Philippi, far in the north of Israel. Perhaps Simon Peter, always quick to action, forged ahead. Thomas may have joined him.
Oh, easy there, racehorse. Slow down and enjoy the view.
No time to waste. Everyone needs to hear what Jesus has to say.
Yeah, but he's in no rush.
Thomas nodded back to where Jesus walked with James and John. The three of them had stopped to fill their water skins at the rushing river that flowed from the roots of Mount Hermon.
More trees up here. Everything's green.
The two men slowed their steps. Thomas examined the mountain rising ahead of them.
What's that? Up there on the plateau?
High above, several stone temples with graceful arches perched along the mountainside, near a dark opening.
Some Greek thing. A cave where they believe their god, Pan, lives.
How many gods do they think there are anyway?
A lot, I guess.
Thomas prodded the string bag Simon carried over his shoulder.
You remember the bread this time?
I'm not likely to forget again.
Simon pulled out a loaf, broke off a piece, and handed it to Thomas. A short time before, the disciples had neglected to bring bread with them when they crossed the lake, and Jesus had used that opportunity to teach them not to use the yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the religious leaders.
I don't know why he had to talk about bread and yeast. He should have just said not to listen to the religious leaders because what they're teaching is way off base.
They're threatened by Jesus.
And anyone who follows him.
Like us?
Maybe.
Nah, I doubt it.
The two men looked back at Jesus again. He was sitting on a large rock now, taking a long drink of water.
What Jesus says sounds different than the way things have always been done.
Thomas held out his water skin.
You know, we should fill up while we got a chance.
As the two men headed back to join the group, Jesus waved all the disciples over.
Guess we're taking an early lunch break. You think he wants rye bread or barley?
But just as they joined the group, Jesus stood. Everyone stopped talking.
Who do people say the Son of Man is?
The disciples knew Jesus meant himself. They exchanged glances, considering. James and John piped up.
Some say John the Baptist. Or Elijah.
Thomas nodded, remembering all the conversations he'd overheard.
Some people say you're Jeremiah or one of the prophets.
Jesus surveyed each one in turn, his eyes deep and piercing.
But what about you? Who do you say that I am?
Now, Jesus' friends knew who Jesus claimed to be, but to believe it and say it themselves out loud, that was a different matter. It didn't stop Simon, though. He met Jesus' gaze and blurted out,
You are the Messiah. You are the Son of the living God.
Simon had dared to speak the truth, a truth that would eventually make him enemies among powerful people. Jesus smiled.
Blessed are you, Simon. No mere human showed this to you. My Father in heaven showed it to you.
Jesus' eyes strayed to the craggy mountain rising high into the sky.
You are Peter. On this rock, I will build my church. The gates of hell will not be strong enough to destroy it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. What you lock on earth will be locked in heaven. What you unlock on earth will be unlocked in heaven.
Simon Peter gulped. Not only had he just been handed a huge mission, but Jesus gave him a new name, Peter, which means rock.
Yes. Okay. We'll tell everyone in Caesarea Philippi.
Wait, what?
I don't want you, any of you, to tell people yet that I'm the Messiah.
Now, the Jewish people were expecting a Messiah who would come as a military commander to fight the Romans, but Jesus knew it wasn't the right time to explain to the Israelites that their Messiah would be saving them in an entirely different way.
Okay.
As Jesus and his disciples continued their trip to Caesarea, Thomas fell into step with Peter one more time.
I can't believe, you came right out and said it.
Well, guess it just takes a little practice.
Now, Simon Peter did not have a perfect record. He later said foolish things in fear, even denying that he knew Jesus, but still, he showed courage and commitment in being the first person in history to confess Jesus as God's Son, the Savior of the whole world.